around devices, right, the big challenge becomes with the number of devices that you have to address, two things. One is, how do I deliver applications content to the variety of devices that exist out there today? And I think that we all have seen a explosion in devices in the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years. If you were at CES this year, you know that there are probably about 78 different Android-based tablet devices that are going to hit the market this year. And each of them is a little different. And then you still have your iPads, your mobile phones, and then a variety of other computing devices. And each of them kind of plays their own role in information access. And one of the things we like to talk about at Citrix is if you can kind of classify the devices into 3 different areas. Kind of your information snacking devices, your mobile phones, and really they're there for I need a quick I need to be alerted of something, I have quick access to information, check an email, send a text message, maybe have some light application access. Kind of on the other end of the spectrum, we have the full-fledged devices, your laptops, your desktop computers, and they're information creation devices, and they're places where you dine on information. And then you have this middle ground that's emerging, which is your tablet devices, which are kind of a hybrid between the both of them. The IT challenge that exists here is, how do I build an infrastructure that supports all these devices that exist today and all the new devices that don't exist yet? And so desktop virtualization and application virtualization, as part of desktop virtualization, provides that value, one, of being able to deliver any of those platforms, but second, also to do so in a way that secures the data and makes sure that a mobile device is just that. It's mobile, and it disappears. And so when that device disappears, is it your information with it that's disappearing as well? As part of the desktop virtualization movement, what you're doing is you're taking 30,000 mini data centers that exist under everybody's desk, and you're actually consolidating that storage, and so you gain a lot of capability around disaster recovery. You now have the ability to natively back up information. You're not worried about an individual going to a specific office getting to their desktop. They can access it from anywhere. And as we talk about capacity and expansion, being able to virtualize and go between multiple data centers doesn't just mean physical data centers that I own. It also means, look, I may have a standard data center that I use most of the time, but then look at a infrastructure as a service cloud offering, whether it be private cloud or even some type of hybrid or, God forbid, public. Using one of those infrastructures as a way to extend my environment. And so if I'm managing data well, everything else is infrastructure. So while I'll tell you a lot about the virtualization capability that we can provide from a desktop perspective, really what really matters is the stuff that's sitting back on storage. It's the files, it's the virtual disks, it's your application images, it's the user information and the data. That's what really matters. And so if you do a good job of managing data and can replicate that data, desktop virtualization fits very well into that in how you deliver it to the end user. I'm going to break this down into 2 areas. I'm going to talk about hard ROI, which is real dollars, and then we'll talk about soft ROI too, because I think there's benefits on both sides looking at desktop virtualization. Typically, without trying to go into dollars and cents, the areas that our customers typically see the biggest benefit, one is in hardware cost. If you go back to my 30,000 data centers under the desk, right? One of the big things that we saw in server virtualization was we had a lot of unused horsepower in our data centers in our server infrastructure. Well, guess what? That exists in our desktops too. When somebody's not sitting at their desk, that's unused horsepower sitting at their desk that could be leveraged by someone else in the organization. So desktop virtualization can give you some of that capability. Now, by virtualizing desktops, what the other capability you gain is that all the horsepower, because it's in the data center, doesn't have to exist at the endpoint. So the refreshing of desktops and laptops every 3 to 5 years can extend out significantly. And then you can go and buy your $200 device. You don't have to buy your $200 device the day you implement. You can buy it when that thing finally stops working. And then the other area we've seen from a hard ROI, the other big benefit is application management. Right? Now the applications are in the data center. much easier to manage, patch, deliver applications, as well as you're not managing multiple access scenarios, right? So I'm not managing a different solution for telework and a different solution for business continuity and a different solution for all the other business cases of how I would deliver applications. Just think about how you deliver email today. Your local users might use Outlook. Your remote users might use Outlook Web Access or BlackBerry or Good or any of these other services that you're managing in your data center. So if I can consolidate the way I deliver applications in the data center and deliver it one way to all these different types of devices and scenarios, you gain a significant ROI benefit from a hard perspective. Now, soft ROI are things like security. What's the benefit of not sitting in front of Congress testifying why I lost 200,000 social security numbers? I'm sure somebody has a dollar benefit to that. But those are other benefits. What's the benefit of the flexibility of giving my users the ability to telework? What's the flexibility of attracting the latest and greatest talent to my organization because I give them a flexible work style? So those are a lot of other benefits that people see out of desktop virtualizations that aren't necessarily related to dollars and cents.